My favorite one is stop saying I'm sorry. When we say I'm sorry, we are driven back to that childhood shame where we had to come up and say I'm sorry to something you didn't even know was wrong. You didn't even know that being stingy with your own toy was bad. Oh, I'm sorry I didn't let you play with my toy. Sorry. You just have this shame. And what if you're a customer service agent and someone's like, my cable just went out and go, oh, I'm so sorry. It's not your fault. That has nothing to do with you. It's, oh my gosh, thank you for bringing that to our attention. We'll take care of it. Now, as a person who's in that frustration mode, how would you respond? Would you like, if I said, thank you for bringing that to my attention, you would be okay with bringing it up. If I said, sorry, you would feel justified, right? You would go ahead and start down that angry trail.
Welcome to another episode of WyzeCast, the show that elevates voices, shines the light, showcases the gifts of our heart-centered guests, and amplifies the positive differences they are making in the world. Hello, folks. I am delighted to bring today's guest to you. She is the visionary behind a hit podcast where she merges her background as a personal coach with her firsthand experience as a recovering corporate workaholic. How many of us can relate to this? Where she overcame work-related stress and periods of neglecting self-care. Her message serves as a beacon of hope for women seeking to transform their inner bully voice into an unwavering supporter, best friend. With a warm and relatable approach, she guides her listeners and clients towards lasting change. Our guest today specializes in helping women change their self-talk, fostering self-kindness, and support and guiding others towards greater balance and fulfillment. My name is Melanie McSally, your host for today's episode. And without further ado, I would like to give a warm welcome to the beautiful, bright light, Laura Jane Layton, host of the Laura Jane Layton Show, based in the US and streamed all over the globe. Welcome, Laura Jane.
Whoa, beautiful entry or introduction. Thank you so much. I love it. I've never been called a bright light before.
Well, you are. That's what I'm seeing. So, listeners, you know that we at Wise Tribe are all about helping heart-centered entrepreneurs, elevate and get their message out so we can all make a big change and create a better tomorrow. Laura Jane is no exception to this. And so I would like to give you a chance to just tell us, how are you making a difference in the world?
I try to make a difference in the world one word at a time. I love to do challenges of switching up the way we talk to ourselves because we beat ourselves up more than anybody else in the whole world. You can have a bad day. Someone can tell you one bad word, and we are the ones that replay it for the rest of our lives. Think about that kid back in elementary school that told you you were big, fat, and ugly. And I still wonder if that's really true. And it's many years later. So it's learning how to reframe our thoughts one word at a time so that we are kinder and gentler with ourselves.
Yeah, because when you're kinder and gentler to yourself, you can be kinder and gentler to everybody else in the world. It's just, it's compassion, right? Compassion for self, compassion for others.
It's like putting your mask on first.
Exactly.
Once you can put your mask on, you can take care of the rest of the world. But without it, you're going to die out.
Yes. I mean, it's hard to pour from an empty cup.
Yes. Which takes me to what I thought we could talk about today is self-care from the inside out. What does that sound like to you?
Let's see. It sounds like flip me over and no, I'm just kidding. Sure, you tell me.
Dump it out. Oh, yes, that would work. But I like to think of self-care as we do our homes. We can have a beautiful manicured yard. We can have a beautiful painted outside. But if we're not taking care of the structural portion and that what's inside, we are living in chaos and damage. And so many of us focus self-care on, I'm going to get my nails done. I'm going to get my eyelashes done. I'm going to go to the gym. And gym's the special one. It does both. So you can go there as much as you want. And I'm not saying you can't have a beautiful home and be the most beautiful person you can be. But if you're not structurally taking care of you, your home is going to collapse. And I let myself go until I woke up at the hospital wondering, how did I let it go this far? When you get that little leaky roof and you go, I'll just put a bucket there. I got to keep going. I don't have time to fix it. And then eventually the roof caves in. And I don't want anybody to go through that. And so I really practice changing the inside. And that's decluttering our thoughts. That's building a healthy, solid foundation that no wind, rain, snow, storm, hurricane are going to topple us over. And how can we do that is really what I think makes the biggest difference. Be beautiful on the inside, but don't let something out there threaten your own personal self.
I love this because I heard once that when you get to a place of utter self-love, like you truly just love everything about yourself, flaws and all, then nobody can say something bad to you. Like nobody can call a person big, fat, ugly something and have it impact them, because the love you have for yourself creates this barrier that those negative words just can't get through, or they transmute, right? When they go through, they transmute into, I love you, or whatever you want it to be, because you own your own power and your own love for yourself. And it doesn't matter what other people think.
They're so right. And it doesn't matter. It's kind of like you judge a restaurant by how many cars are parked outside. But there are some that just haven't been discovered. And you are beautiful. And so is your listener is beautiful on the inside. And we may not have discovered that yet because we have that, I'm afraid of people, or I want to hide, or I'm only going to show this fake self because I don't have enough faith in myself that my real self is going to be lovable. So we come up with this puppet. I for years, I was non-existent. I didn't know anything about me other than I got up. I got the kids ready for school. I got them off to school. I went to work. I came home. I fixed dinner. I spent the weekend cleaning and cooking. And that's all there was. A mechanical Laura Jane was taking over and doing life. And if anybody said something to me, I wasn't sure who I am. So of course it hurt. It hurt deep if someone said, you're a bad mom. And I go, I don't know how to be any different. How can you change that? And so it's finding that self-love of who you are. And we may have to declutter tons and tons and tons of false information that's in our brain. But we can do it one step at a time, one word, one phrase, one change. You don't have to hire someone to come and do a full overhaul. We can do it a little bit at a time. And each time you take out one of those bags of garbage of crap that people told you, You are lighter. You are fresher. You are starting to see what's inside of you. And I know that everybody is beautiful on the inside. I know it. And I love the beauty that's on the inside of everybody. I just want to help you shed that I don't know who I am feeling anymore.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting because we develop so many beliefs before we turn 4 years old. And those beliefs just become ingrained inside us, and we keep them for the rest of our lives. And unless we do work to decide whether or not they're still serving us and release them if they're not, then they can rule our lives, right? And I've taken a shine recently to watching shows that take place in the 1800s, 1900, early 1900s. And it really showcases the where we have evolved to, right? If you think about like what life was like back in the 1800s, women couldn't vote, and all sorts of things, right? And just like little tiny things, right? So when you think about society, people, value, like things evolve. So if you think that you don't have any clutter in your brain, that you don't have any beliefs that aren't serving you, go watch one of these old shows and just see how far we've come, how much has evolved, and like, what's something in your brain that maybe is no longer serving you. Like I love the book, The Four Agreements. Have you read that? Yeah.
Yes, I was domesticated. I'm trying to become wild again.
So for anyone who has not read the book, it's really about, uncovering all of your beliefs and getting down to the core ones of what do you really need, and let's get rid of the rest. And the one thing after I read that book that I came up with is that I'm going to say that the only belief that I will never get rid of is the belief that I will no yeah is that I will get rid of other beliefs, right? Is that I will continuously evolve and change, and if it's not serving me, see you, bye.
We are not the same people we were yesterday. We're not the same people we were 10 years ago. People in my life 15 years ago would not recognize who I am today. I'm not the same. I don't act the same. The only people that aren't allowed to do this, and maybe this is not correct to say, but are politicians. They get in so much trouble for what they did 30 years ago, and they've changed just like you and I have changed every day. We learned more. We have more knowledge. We have more choices, and we can analyze and choose who and what we are. And it's a beautiful thing. You don't have to be in trouble because at one time I yelled and screamed at somebody. I'm not that person anymore. And I am able to let that go. And part of this decluttering and this self-care from the inside out is allowing to know that you did the best you could do with the knowledge you had at the time. And you've gained more knowledge, you've gained more experience, and it's okay to be completely different and unrecognizable to those few.
Mm-hmm. And yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hopefully we keep recognizing ourselves, but I do find I was like, oh, I wouldn't have responded like that before. You know?
I mean, the old version of you might be unrecognizable, like, oh, I can't believe that unevolved version of myself.
Well, that's like the caterpillar and the butterfly.
Mm-hmm.
The butterfly may not recognize the caterpillar as a previous version of what it was, but it's not a bad thing to be a caterpillar. Right. A butterfly is not better than a caterpillar. They are the same being that has gone through evolution. It's okay for us to change and love that original caterpillar. I love the cat can. What is the name of that cocoon thing? Love the cocoon. It sheltered you. It lets you go through pain, and you came out beautiful. And you were beautiful to start with.
And a butterfly can't be a butterfly without having been a caterpillar.
I know. Is that so magical?
Yes.
So we're not limited to where we are today. We will be different tomorrow. And it's allowing. My husband's really good at this one because I can get kind of testy when someone has triggered one of my responses. And I'll like, I'll start getting frustrated. He goes, allow them to be them. It is okay. And the most important person to allow is yourself. It is so hard to not beat ourselves up. When we do self-reflection at night to decide how the day went and how we'd want to change tomorrow or how we would, it's the practice. Self-reflection is your practice for tomorrow. It's desensitizing those triggers and sensitizing those things that you want to keep. How do I turn off the one and activate the other? And that beautiful time of self-reflection is my favorite time to declutter and to choose how tomorrow's going to be.
Yeah, it's in those triggering moments that I use that as a reflection moment for myself of like, why am I triggered by this? What does this say about me? What do I need to work on? And I like to turn it back on myself, not because I want to take on responsibility for somebody else's actions, but because, everything is sort of an opportunity to grow and develop and be the best version of yourself. And you learn in challenging moments who you can be.
They talk about the diamond and the coal and the pressure and the heat and the time that the coal went through to become a diamond. Now, does that mean coal's worthless? No. We heat our homes. We cook with them even. The coal is so important to us. But some coal has taken on all that crap, all that pressure, and turned into a beautiful diamond. Is coal ugly? No, it's just different.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
And
both
you can be whatever. Yes.
Both are sources of energy. So,
yes. One of them can cut through anything, and the other one can purify anything. Mm-hmm. Activated charcoal is an amazing purifier. So they both have extremely good properties. And you right now today, to choose you and be your actress or actor. Be the person you want to be every day, but not in that robotic, mindless state. We're not doing it because these are our have tos. These are our choose tos.
mm-hmm. Yeah. So earlier you talked about politicians might be the only ones. And I actually love that you said this as an example because I love to travel. And I love to travel because I love seeing the world and experiencing the world from other people's perspectives. And the United States is on a global stage when it comes to everything it does. Everything is publicized, and people see more of the downsides than the positives on the news and things like that. And I recently had a guest who was denied the privilege to do something because of something that happened in his past, like something he did in his past. And oftentimes when I go to another country and I say I'm from America, they instantly judge me. Or I say I'm from the United States. I have shifted to say I'm from the United States. And, I will say the same thing that I said to this person, this previous guest, is that if somebody chooses to change, we should allow them to change, right? It's like they took the effort to say, I want to do better. I want to be better. And we should allow that, right? We should allow them to do better, be better, and honor them for the person they are, not the person they were. Now, obviously, people have to pay for their crimes if they commit them, but that doesn't mean that once they've gone through that whole transformation, we can't honor the new person that they are. So thank you for bringing that up, because I think it's an important lesson for people is like, we can't require people to change, but we can honor them if they choose to.
I agree. And how do we get away from holding on to that? I think for me, so if you were raped, there's so many women I had, in the Me Too phase, I had no idea there was so many people in that category. But are you holding on to that as an excuse to stop living life? And we shut our own doors and we lock our own doors because of past trauma. And how do we become or obtain that feeling safe mode again? And even if the only thing you change is starting the affirmation, I am safe. And start reminding yourself that not everybody out there is going to inflict harm. There are so many beautiful people that we have locked ourselves away from because we're afraid of being hurt. So the person that I want everyone to choose to change and allow to be different is themselves. And it's okay to protect yourself. It's okay to lock the doors, but it's also okay to be safe. And if the only thing you take away from today is I am safe, and you say it every morning and night, you will start our whole foundation, the most important thing to us is safety. That's before food and water. That's before housing. That's before all these other needs that we have. Safety is that foundation. And when we don't feel safe, we hide, we deny ourselves living the life that we could have.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's interesting is I had an experience earlier in life where I felt like I was attracting the wrong type of person into my life. And I felt like I have a very strong intuition, and I felt like it must be broken when it comes to relationships because I keep inviting the wrong people into my life. And, I just decided one day, lots of personal growth later, but one day I just made the decision because I had this perspective, right? I had this perspective that I was inviting the wrong kind of person into my life, and that my intuition wasn't working when it came to discerning whether this was the right person or the wrong person early on, right? Mm-hmm. And I just made this decision one day. I was going to change that perspective. And so I started with an affirmation: I'm safe, secure, and protected. I'm safe, secure, and protected. My intuition will only allow the right people into my life, the people for my highest good. And it actually didn't take very long for that shift to happen. Because, we all know the saying of what you focus on grows, it magnifies, and attracts, right? So when I made that shift, when I was thinking about I'm attracting the wrong people, my intuition doesn't work. Well, it didn't work. And I was attracting the wrong people because that's what I was focused on. But when I shifted to I'm safe, secure, and protected, my intuition is going to let me know who's safe and who's not, then it did, right? Because that's what I was focused on. And so
magical.
yeah, I love it. So anyway, it works, people.
Yeah, you were saying something. Well, we both have been talking a little bit about that change, that allowing change. And there's this one saying that drives the crap out of me is when somebody says, when how you do one thing is how you do everything. No, that is not true. If I am in a situation where I feel unsafe, I definitely act different than in a situation where I'm safe. You cannot. And the people that you meet are reacting and responding to you the way you are treating them. And how do we get where we allow people those changes? That would be like saying, I have a car and it is going to turn right all the time because it always is going to do it the same way. No, sometimes it's going to turn left. Sometimes it's going to go straight. It depends on the situation you're in, what you pull in from your life. And so allow yourself to do whatever is safe and secure for you right now and let go of that need to please, unless it's for you. I love pleasing myself and making myself happy. But then I'm happy for everybody else. If I miss that step and I'm frustrated and angry, I'm not kind to you. I don't want that person in my life anymore. I used to be a lot worse. I still can get bitchy, but I used to be a lot worse.
Corporate America will do that to you.
Well, you feel like you have to give up your life for them and you don't.
Yeah. Yeah. I have this morning practice to like infuse my day with my intention for the day. And whenever I stop, because sometimes you're like, oh, I don't need that anymore. Whenever I stop, like crap hits the fan that day. It's like whatever I had been working to like get rid of and not have in my days, it comes on that day. And I'm like, oh, and then I will stop. Like I recognize it now and I will stop and I will do my morning intention ritual in that moment because I'm like, okay, we got to put an end to this. But it's just like you get where you're focused. And when you're focused on self-care and self-love so that you can give of the overflow to others, then you're not coming from a place of lack. You're coming from a place of abundance. And it's so beautiful.
It's a much better place to be.
Yeah.
It's much nicer to be able to share what's extra because you have extra. And not, what is that one quote? I will give you the best of me, not the rest of me.
That's
because
lovely.
When you take care of yourself first, you become your best self. And your friends and your family and your coworkers and all those people that you interact with get the best of you, not what's left of you. And I love it. I love that self-reflection, that self-drive. And you were talking about when you stop that ritual and these things hit you upside your head. And I call those the pop quizzes. When you go to math, and I've been studying my math test, and I get there, I'm prepared for the test. But the pop quiz, you're never prepared for. And if you haven't been doing the work and knowing you're going to respond, you might fail that pop quiz. But guess what? You didn't fail life. You just had a little hiccup, and now you can learn to keep doing the things that are working for you every day.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So you said you like to turn key phrase, right? Flip words on their head. So what's your best example?
My favorite one is stop saying I'm sorry. When we say I'm sorry, we are driven back to that childhood shame where we had to come up and say I'm sorry to something you didn't even know was wrong. You didn't even know that being stingy with your own toy was bad. Oh, I'm sorry I didn't let you play with my toy. Sorry. You just have this shame. And what if you're a customer service agent and someone's like, my cable just went out and go, oh, I'm so sorry. It's not your fault. That has nothing to do with you. It's, oh my gosh, thank you for bringing that to our attention. We'll take care of it. Now, as a person who's in that frustration mode, how would you respond? Would you like, if I said, thank you for bringing that to my attention, you would be okay with bringing it up. If I said, sorry, you would feel justified, right? You would go ahead and start down that angry trail. Walk into a meeting late. You don't say, sorry, I'm late. You say, thank you for starting without me. Or thank you for waiting for me. Just feel the difference. It's just you're walking in with a command presence instead of a sheepish little child that wants to hide and I might get paddled because I'm late. Just feel the difference. And so next time you say, and I used to say sorry all the time, even to the wall. Bump into the wall, nobody else around. What would come out of my mouth? Sorry. It's like, instead, thank you all for being there. Like start practicing with the people that or the items that don't even know, but you can start to change it up. And I think it's so empowering. And that's what my Monday podcast episodes are all a challenge. And it's little things. The very first one that I ever recorded was the sorry one.
I like it because you're not just saying to people, stop saying I'm sorry. You're actually doing what they say in habit forming, which is you're replacing it with something else. So instead of saying I'm sorry, say these key phrases. So what is your biggest piece of advice you'd like to give people?
Really goes right back to what we've been talking about is be kind to yourself. And when you have those negative thoughts, I have them. They're not gone. They're going to come every day. I get a pop quiz, but I get the chance to do an open book quiz and I can figure out how to change it. I can figure out how to move forward. And so allow yourself the pop quiz. Just let yourself have an open book and you can figure out a way to make it and pass that test.
Nice, nice. If people are loving, because they're definitely going to love this episode. So if people are loving this episode, how can they get more of Laura Jane?
If you know Laura Jane, last name's Layton, that's all you need to know. It's the Laura Jane Layton Show. And all of my social media is Laura Jane Layton. So if you're trying to hunt, even my website is laurajanelayton.com. It's like so easy to find me. Mm-hmm. But yes, if you love the rewording ideas and you want to find ways to reduce your stress and your pressure, and all my guests are here to help people be more themselves. And so the Laura Jane Layton Show I drop 3 episodes a week. So it will be fun. Go check it out.
Nice. Yeah. I highly suggest this because sounds like a great way to get more positivity in your life while you're working on your self-positivity. So if they're looking for more switch it ups or just a cup of joyful tea or something, they can come watch your show.
Yeah. And it's on YouTube too, if you really want to watch.
Oh, yeah. Listen to, watch, I just kind of assume that it's on all of the platforms these days.
It is. But YouTube's the only place where the video is. So
nice. Well, it has been such a pleasure having you here today, Laura Jane. And I'm so excited. I'm going to check out your show now.
I checked yours out already, too. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
I want to thank our listeners for tuning in. If you like what you heard here today, please do like, share, and comment. We are trying to get WyzeCast to be a hot new release. So if you feel inspired, if you felt moved, if you felt called, if we earned it, please do like, share, and comment. It is free for you to do so. It really helps the podcast grow, and we really do love your engagement. This was another episode of WyzeCast, the show that elevates the voices, shines the light, showcases the gifts of our heart-centered guests, and amplifies the positive difference they're making in the world. If you want to learn more about WyzeCast, you can visit our website at wyzecast.com. We drop 10 episodes every month on the 21st, so you can binge watch or spread them out over the month, whatever suits your mood and lifestyle. Once again, my name is Melanie. It has been my pleasure being your host today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your engagement. And I invite you to come back and join me once again for our next episode of WyzeCast.